Okay, folks, welcome to another Sunday Night Futures Live. We have the futures that are open. We're going to go to those in a moment. We're going to talk about China. We're going to talk about Russia. We're going to talk about inflation. We got a lot to go over here. And this is a big, big week. We're going to be talking about economic data and news announcements coming out. The Pimp Mac Daddy of them all is going to be, you guessed it, the Federal Reserve rate decision this week. What will they do? We also have a market that remains a bit overvalued. And we're going to go to evaluations in a moment. So let's kick it off with saying hello to people. Not many people on. Was there a game tonight? Hey, Kat, how are you? Sherry, 2 females. Wow. 2 females, first 2 comments. That's a first. That's wonderful. That's really good. Danny, hey, brother. Great having the ladies on board. Trader Isaac, hey, brother. What about IWM, Bob? Trending sideways, not down. That's a good thing. Could mean that traders are just hanging around, waiting to buy, looking ahead 3 to 5 years. FDX, CMI, and MGA are on sale. I think the IWM took the brunt of the sell-off, so it may just be an oversold condition in advance of the Fed announcement. And if the market does recover, it's going to be the transports and the small caps that will move up higher with yields. So, good point about the small caps. We'll keep an eye on it. Town, hello. Uh, Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Lewis. I did. I had a very good weekend. Thank you. My daughter's home from school. Very nice to have her here. Hey, Jeff. Welcome. Shari representing. Good. Good evening to you, TZ. OPT. That's right. Yeah. OPTT reports tomorrow. Hey, Bob. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty darn good. My daughter's home. Good to have the family. We had a family dinner with my son home last night. That was a first in a long, long while. So it's very, very nice. So I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for all for being here. It's my honor. Let's begin with the markets. They are open, and we are seeing a gap up higher on the S&P 500. This is a 4-hour chart. Let's drill down a little bit deeper. Let's take a look at a 30-minute chart. No great shock here that we're getting a bit of a bounce. I mean, Friday was just a melt away day. All it did was melt. So no great shock that we're catching a bounce here. What I'd be eyeballing later on is this. Do we hold this support level at 42.10? I'm going to create an alert there. Let's see whether or not we have the rocket fuel to hold the support level. Really strong open here. We're at the session highs. I want to create another alert here because I want to know if and when we put in a new, where's my alert? What are you doing here? Create alert. Where's my alert? Something's wrong here. All right. I would normally set an alert letting me know if we break down to new lower lows on the week. We're going to come back and do a retest here in about the next 5-10 minutes. So we'll see whether that holds. We have an alert set up. Okay, let's move on to other futures. Let's look at the 30-minute chart. Dow futures gapping up as well, up 0.44%, 3,300. Resistance clearly. NASDAQ 100 also gapping up 0.63%, 13.4. Resistance. See if my alerts are back up here. Why can't I create an alert? Here we go. Losing the time. Okay. Let's go back. Say hello to people. All right. People slowly moving in here. Hey, Seymour. Welcome. Cad, any views on the crypto world with the money printing? So right now, I did a presentation for TrendSpider a couple of weeks ago, and I recorded it the first or second week of February. They released it near the end of February, and I pointed out two correlations about that Bitcoin has. It does trade with CPI, Consumer Price Index, and it does trade with risk assets, the NASDAQ in particular. So right now, it's trading as a risk-off asset. So they're selling the NASDAQ off, therefore they're selling Bitcoin off. I think at some point in time, because it's clearly not the new gold, it's not being appreciated as the new gold. Gold is ripping up higher, Bitcoin is down. At some point in time, if the Fed chair does not go to really serious measures, meaning uh, you have 7.5, 7.9% inflation, double it for the old way they used to calculate it. So we're in the teens. You know what? Let's keep it simple. Let's just say the numbers are real. We're at 8% inflation. So Fed funds rate is at 1/4 percentage point. Fed funds rate is the borrowing cost for banks to borrow from the Federal Reserve. Obviously, we pay more. So if he goes up 1/4 percentage point, that's not fighting inflation. If he goes up a full percentage point, that's not fighting inflation, because now you're at 1.25% on Fed funds and inflation's at 8. How are you going to beat inflation? So the Federal Reserve is in a really, really bad position right now. So I think at some point in time, this goes back to your question, that people are going to appreciate the fact that, man, they're not really fighting inflation. So if and when the markets do bottom out, or at some point in time, the risk off uh, dynamic that Bitcoin has right now, forcing the price lower, may just change. And that correlation with CPI may just firm up quite a bit. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen. Right now, I'm doing a little bit of dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, very, very small amounts. I'm talking minute amounts. So I'm buying it, but very, very small, just as a hedge. OG1, what's up, buddy? Hey, my big play for the week, I have 28 puts on SPY 400 strike. Carrying a hedge with that? You may want to consider, I'm not saying you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you may want to consider selling a deep out of the money put against that position. That way you help finance that trade. It'll really help you out now, especially if you're up on that trade. So just a thought. That's what I usually do. That's what we did with McDonald's last week. We did very, very well, getting long with McDonald's as it was very oversold. 80% of money in circulation. Uh, no, it's not 80% of US dollars. It's more like 30 to 35, something like that. But it's a big, big number. That's a huge number. So no, it's not 80%. It's more like 30, 35%. Oh, you're okay. Be, book your profits if you got them. Don't wait around too long. Hey, Franklin. Wow, a lot of comments today. Talon, did anyone see the tweet about Algeria stopping exports of what oil? WOABA. Okay, Falcon. Are those symbols? I know BA is Boeing. Sorry, typo. Bob, can you take a look at the TR? Sure. Where's my trusty handy dandy piece of paper? NTR. I am dollar cost averaging Bitcoin to yep. Yeah, no reason to get big here. It's under pressure. Better long-term investments at current price Bitcoin or I have no idea. Know, the only reason why I'm buying Bitcoin is that there's a finite amount, supposedly, it's a finite amount of Bitcoin out there. Ethereum, there is no finite amount, and Bitcoin is the pimp Mac Daddy. It's the big player out there. It's where institutions are putting money. So I go where they go. I look at see where they're building out infrastructure. The big banks, what are they doing? Are they in Ethereum, Bitcoin? I hear more about Bitcoin. So I go where they go because the government is going to be less apt to radically try to um, put shackles on Bitcoin if you have the big banks in there. So that's why I went with big banks, because they'll be my advocate, my unappointed advocate, uh, for when they try to come out with new rules and regulations on Bitcoin. Are you still short bias on Tesla? Yes, more so than ever. I took a look at the chart yesterday. Tesla not looking good. Broke support last week. Not looking good at all. I find it interesting. Venezuela is now looking to offload their oil. They are demanding the U.S. will recognize him as a legitimate leader. We'll probably do it. I mean, they're not getting, they're really going to have to trump up some sort of an emergency measure to get mail-in balloting, so they could rig this election. Because if they do not, I mean, the damage that's going to be done to the Democrats is just going to be unimaginable. Uh, Shibu, that's is that a crypto? I'll defer to you guys on crypto. I try to go where the big money's going, and I'm staying small, very very small, and that's it. Okay, let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar in a little bit. Big week last week. So what's going on with the dollar is that yes, you're seeing risk come out of the stock market going into U.S. dollars, money market funds, but you're also seeing money leave the European Union. Have you seen the euro lately? The euro is a basket case. They are in a lot of trouble there. Here's the euro. It's popping up now, but you take a look at it on a weekly basis. I mean, it's just been hammered. It had a really nice setup back here. I remember this back in August, but it was a failed breakout and hammered. I mean, if Putin shuts off, he threatened to shut down not Nord Stream 2, which I think is incomplete, but Nord Stream 1. That'll kill Germany. Germany will be persona non grata. So capital flight out of Europe may just pick up even more. So short Pfizer on recent released papers. Yeah, and I read an article. I wasn't going to quote it because I haven't read it all that much. I'm worried about the video getting banned. But Epic Times is reporting that hospitalizations of people that are vaccinated, I don't know if they said Pfizer or what vaccine, I think they just said mRNA, but I haven't read the entire article. 1,000% increase in hospitalizations. So Pfizer, to me, it's a garbage stock. Yeah, I've heard of it, um, but there's a lot of scams out there. A lot of scams. So I'm not saying that that's a scam. I have no idea. Okay, so euro up. Let's take a look at how gold is doing this evening. 30-minute chart. We were higher. We have since reversed. I think gold's due for a pause. It's come a long way. Let's take a look at silver. Uh-oh. S&P's fading. Let's go back to the S&P 500. This is why we never buy the open. Never, ever buy the open. So sellers are moving in. This could be a retest. So now what I want to do is, if we put in a new higher high, we should get a strong open tomorrow morning. What the hell happened to my alert? Something's wrong with TOS tonight. At or above. Okay, something's wrong with their system tonight. All right. Face is getting ripped off. Yeah, that's my line. Because I've been there. It's having your face ripped off. I've been in plenty of short squeezes on the wrong side of that trade. Let's take a look at some commodities. Copper coming in. I think we're going to get a pause in commodities. Natural gas gap down. It's now filling the gap. Corn futures strong. Weekly view overbought. So this is why I'm saying be careful with these commodities, folks. They've come a very, very long way. And Putin has not banned the export of fertilizer. He's threatening to if we continue down this road of draconian sanctions, but he hasn't done it yet. Not that food prices aren't going to go up no matter what, they are. But the major concern is a cutoff of fertilizer because that'll impact domestic growers, not just Russian growers. In fact, it won't affect them at all. Look at wheat. Let's look at this bearish reversal bar last week. So just be careful here. Commodities are, they crash up and they crash down. Just be very, very careful. Looks like we're moving up higher here at the open. You've been there too, huh? Yeah. It's a feeling you don't forget quickly. How about them nickels? You mean the mineral nickel? That Chinese billionaire is still shorting nickel. He got thrown a lifeline by J.P. Morgan, some Chinese bank, and he's still shorting nickel. Unless he's talking his book, he's exiting. Who knows? They all lie. I'm hitting up the banks tomorrow. Why are you hitting up the banks out of curiosity? I think I know why, but I just want to see what you have to say out of curiosity. I'm not saying you're wrong. Do we like Val to play nickel? We'll take a look. Okay. I don't trust Putin, but he's not stupid, man. Confusing times. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm more afraid of our leadership than I am of Putin. No, he's not stupid. They have their propaganda. They use it on their people. We have our propaganda. They're using it on us. They want us to think he's a madman. Fear, 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 fear. Stoke nationalism. Don't watch what the politicians in DC are doing. That's the goal. And they want Biden's approval ratings to move up higher, showing that he's a strong guy. He's incompetent. And he's incompetent. All right. Let's take a moment and just talk about what's coming out this week. Folks, I'm going to skip over everything. Uh, Wednesday, the Fed announcement. I think that the best thing he could do, if he were wise, and I think he signaled that he will not do this, but if he were wise, he would go with a half-point hike. The markets would initially knee-jerk reaction, not like it, but then they would rally. Why? Confidence. Confidence that he's going to fight inflation. Confidence in that the economy is strong enough to take that type of a rate hike. But I don't think he's going to do it. I think that you may get a rally on the quarter point hike, but ultimately we're going to roll over. Why? It's not going to stop inflation. There's nowhere near enough to stop inflation. Okay, Schiller PE ratio, 34.41. We're coming in a little bit here, but still historically high, well above the mean at 16.92. So just when you think we can't go lower, we can go lower. So I'm not optimistic about this market still. Now, how are we trading the market? We're doing what we've been doing. When I see opportunity, I'll buy, but it's got to be an extreme oversold play. What I've been doing is watching for overvalued options. Everything here that you're seeing highlighted, our Netflix options, they expired last week. We're not buying the options. We're selling the options deep out of the money. So really, we're just market neutral right now. We're just collecting premium, and we're up. We're up on the year, vastly outperforming the triple Qs, S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. So we got to be doing something right. So there's no reason to change strategy right now. So we're going to continue to sell premium, meaning sell puts, sell calls, deep out of the money. And these are the names. I like the banks, and somebody said earlier that they were going to be buying the banks. I asked why. I don't think I had a reply. I like the banks because yields broke out last week. So while the banks didn't respond to the upside because of all the concerns about counterparty risk out of Russia, all these commodity traders that are blowing up, who's got that counterparty risk? That's causing the pressure on the banks. But I think ultimately they're going to be fine. U.S. banks are well capitalized. So I like BlackRock. BlackRock in particular, Wells Fargo. And BlackRock already announced their exposure to Russia to like $7 billion. To them, it's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. So, and in fact, I think I have the article up here. I thought I had it up here. I may have closed it out. But you have some of the. Oh yeah. Here it is. I'm kind of going out of sequence here, but folks, while you can't buy Russian stocks or bonds, that doesn't mean the big banks aren't. They are buying. In particular, Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan have been buying up the bonds like 29 cents on the dollar for Russian debt. So they're in there buying up opportunities hand over fist. Yeah, here are the names. Goldman, I don't know this company. Evraz, Gazprom, that's a state-owned enterprise, Russian railroads. So Wall Street's in there. JP Morgan traded $200 million of Russian and Ukrainian corporate debt Thursday, including some clients seeking to exit positions. So They're in there. They have a liquid market. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs buying it up. They are buying when there's blood in the streets, exactly what they should be doing. I wish I had the opportunity. Okay. So when I look at this market, I look at government as your steward of the ship. And it's no difference from when you take a look at a company and you say, okay, they have a good product. How is management? Always goes back to management. Here's the unfortunate thing. Here's our management. I'm going to play this clip.
If I can ask you, Madam Vice President, President Biden has said that Americans will feel some pain for the sake of defending freedom and liberty, but there does seem to be no end game in sight. How long should Americans expect? How long should we be bracing for this really sort of historic inflation and some unprecedented gas prices?
Sure. In terms of the discussions that the President, Johannes, and I had, they ranged in subject, including the issue of the Black Sea, and I'll let him explain in more detail as he would like. But we are, again, fully aware and apprised, because we are in constant communication with the President, with his administration here, about the concerns that they have about the entire region and, frankly, the vulnerability. All you have to do is look at the map.
Okay. She was asked about inflation. She didn't even know she was supposed to answer the question. This is what's steering the ship. If that does not scare you, it should. It really, really should. And I think it was Kat that pointed out earlier that she doesn't like Putin, and that's fine. I don't like the guy. He's an autocrat. I don't like him. But am I more afraid of him, or am I more afraid of incompetence? Because we're playing a very, very risky game. And the Davos crowd, the globalists out there, they have put people into positions that they are incompetent to handle. And they put them in there because they don't want anybody competent. They want to be able to manipulate these people to do what they want. Russia is a problem for the World Economic Forum, the Davos crowd. They don't want any government to be nationalistic. They don't want any government, whatever you think about Putin, he's very religious. So they don't want religion. They want government to be the religion. So they wanted to put nukes at the doorstep of Russia to have him come to heel. But they underestimated Putin, and Putin struck first. He knew he had to. So this was completely avoidable. We chose not to. He warned. We didn't listen. So what's the outcome? Yuan deposits soar at Russian banks after SWIFT cutoff. There's life after SWIFT, folks. I warned about this the day we threatened sanctions, and the day they floated the trial balloon about cutting Russia off of SWIFT. I said it's going to be the worst mistake that they ever make, but they're going to do it. They shouldn't do it, but it's bad, really, really bad, because we're chopping off our nose to spite our face. We have children running this ship. And sure enough, they did it. We didn't think that the Russians were prepared for this. They've been buying gold. They produce a huge amount of gold. Plus, they've been buying it in the open market for years now, along with the Chinese. So all they need to do is tell the United States, tell Europe, hey, listen, we'll sell you our oil. We need gold. We don't want your dollars anymore. We want gold. That's the nuclear bomb, the financial nuclear bomb that they could set off if they wanted to. So we are playing with absolute fire. Russia threatens attacks on NATO weapon shipments to Ukraine, legitimate targets. This is escalating further. So they had better tell those Ukrainians, hey, listen, you're not going to surrender? Come and get your equipment, and you got to bring it back yourself. Will we do that, or are we going to cross that line? This could act as pressure on the markets moving forward. India is mulling rupee ruble payment system for trade with Russia. Again, I've been warning about this over and over and over again. Don't go down this path. It's a slippery slope that we're forcing these countries to go down to avoid. Why couldn't it be India next? Why can't it be China next? Why would they wait? They're going to take a page out of Russia's book, and they're going to say, okay, let's get ready. Let's not be a victim. And what is that going to do to the world's reserve currency, the US dollar? It's going to undermine it. We asked for this. Let's go to some comments. Talon. Bob, do we roll down the LABU put sells? No, I don't. I normally don't roll down put sells. I'll roll out, but I won't roll them down. Sometimes I do, but that depends upon the situation. I booked profits on LABU early last week, but I didn't want to reopen at the same. I booked profits at the 16th strike. We own the common stock, had the naked puts. We booked profits on both, but I didn't want to be too close to the money. So I went with the probabilities, and I sold the 1250 puts. I think it's 1250 or 1350 puts. I don't have them in front of me. Either 1250 or 1350 puts, expiring next Friday. Patrick, hey, brother. I bought June puts on Pfizer. Nice, deep out of the money. Like that. Yep, futures up. Yep. Explain that again. What are they buying? I'm not sure exactly what I had stated, Pat. Do you want to be specific on that symbol or commodity? So embarrassing. My God. Yeah, she's bad. Just when you think she can't do worse, she does worse. I know so many people who like the current administration, but I am just on the left coast. I'm in New York, pal. It's not much better here. When you go into Manhattan, it might as well be San Francisco. I mean, these people are nuts. I'm on Long Island, so it's a little bit more sane here. Chinese markets will roar higher. Kamala is worse than Biden. She's not to mention. Well, if she gets put into that office, she's going to be easily manipulated. Fitch ratings for the second time this month downgraded Russian natural resource companies, including Gazprom, Lukoil, better on concerns that they may not be able to service their debt. Yes, that's a concern, but they may get a lifeline from China. Or no SWIFT and gold only. Yeah, it's conversation out there about that, or a gold-backed ruble. Think about it. Why not roll? Because the reason is, it's a great question. So at one point in time, I used to roll them down or roll calls up. The reason why I don't is because stocks are cyclical, right? So I'd rather just collect the premium because LABU is really oversold. If you take a look at a chart of LABU, here we go, weekly. So you take a look at a chart here. LABU is holding this 1250 support level for the past few weeks, and it's been prior support back here. So this is where I differ from a lot of options traders. I like to incorporate technical analysis into my option writing. So what I like to do is more of the Tom Sosnoff style of trading options, and that is when I have a stock in this situation that's pretty oversold. You take a look at the Stokes here, and they're ripe for a rip up higher. So I'd rather just collect the premium by rolling them out to the following week and expecting a counter trend move. And that way, if the shares move up higher through, let's say I'm at say 1250 right now. Where do we close? I'm sure we're above that. We closed at 1366. They may not even hit my strike this week, but even if they do and the shares are put to me, I don't care. I'll take them. Or I'll just roll them out because the shares are so oversold. I'm expecting a big rally on LABU. I want the shares. So that's why I'd rather just collect the premium, expecting stocks being cyclical. They'll go back, go up and down, up and down. You just got to keep an eye on the charts, making sure you're not breaking critical support levels. And then I may just have to take a loss and stop rolling whatsoever and just deal with the loss. Zim, yeah, good looking chart on Zim. I took a load of yen 3 minutes before Friday's close. Big dip, thoughts on a bounce? Yen. Is that a Chinese stock? Ah, oh, that's right. Yin, and you got Yang, which is the opposite. That's the bear ETF. So I think what we need to do is talk about the why behind why this is selling off so hard, and the why behind it is that I think I have it up here. Yeah, China locks. I'll share this article if you're interested. China locks down 17.5 million people in Shenzhen. That's like the fourth largest port in the world. So that's not good. I mean, they're getting rocked by COVID over there. And they're still going with this COVID zero policy. And that's not going to do them well. So looking at the chart of yin, it's clearly still under distribution. Let's take a look at the daily chart. I think it's optionable, right? RSI 19.45. It is optionable. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I probably would have gone with a long call spread on yin or sold the puts on yin, but I think you're going to be fine. You'll probably get a counter trend rally fairly soon. But given this price action here on Friday, it looks as though this is a continuation breakdown candlestick. So we're probably going to go lower. That doesn't mean we're going to stay down. It could go down and then reverse to close up on the day. That's your signal. That's what I would have done in the situation, is waited for either a real washout day, which this looks like, but we close at the lows of the day. So I probably wouldn't have done that trade. Wait for a washout day, buy the reversal. Okay. Yes, the shutdown of Shenzhen. Yeah, that'll hurt supply. All right. I'm so out of sequence here. We covered this. All right. So, oh boy. All right. That was not an alert. That was a Forex alert. Okay. In short, this is Biden is blaming Putin for everything inflation right now. It's ridiculous. Not that Biden is the proximate cause of the inflation. He certainly didn't help, but this has been going on for a long, long time now. And frankly, Trump was no angel here. So I'm not gonna come on here and not be intellectually honest. There's a lot of blame to go around here. So while I despise Biden, it's not entirely his fault. But he's certainly not hurting matters at all. Goldman cuts S&P target to 4,700. So what they're doing here. So my guess is that Goldman is now looking to get long of the market, or they are long. Why? It's because while this is the second time this analyst, David Costin, came down, and he downgrades the S&P 500, but if you're expecting an upside, you're expecting 4,700 on the S&P 500. He puts out a dovish statement on the S&P 500, but you got to take a look at where the S&P 500 is and where that price target is. 4,700 is up here. He's expecting a major rally on the S&P 500. That's why I believe that Goldman has now covered their shorts and looking to get long. That's a 10% rally up from here. Recession downside of 3,600. Folks, you take a look at the yield curve. The yield curve is screaming recession. Screaming recession. All these gray areas here are the inversion of the yield curve, all of which resulted in recession. We are barreling towards, this was the COVID recession, we are barreling towards an inversion of the yield curve very, very fast. Doesn't mean that you can't buy stocks during that time frame. What you got to worry about is when the inversion stops and they begin to see yields tighten up a bit, and that's when the economy becomes unglued. So be very careful here with the yield curve. We have a lot of problems with this possibly inverting very, very soon. What else do we have? I need to get through this. How much time do we have? 6:42. I want to go to alerts. Credit is cracking. Yeah, take a look at the high yield debt market. We saw this in China. I went over this the other night on Thursday night. If you want to go back to that video, the bond market was screaming problems over in China. It's now screaming problems here in the United States, and it's been doing it. So far on the month, the high yield debt market, this is junk bonds, for those not familiar, junk bond market is breaking down in a very big way. So a lot of these are your frackers. The junk bond market financed all these fracking operations, and they can't pump. They're not allowed to pump. Joe Biden says they're allowed to pump. They can't pump. He banned leases on federal lands. So the high yield debt market is rolling over. I'm not saying it's purely because of frackers. Could be something else out there. But clearly, the bond market is concerned about junk bonds. This is interesting. This is an article. God help us. The death knell for the dollar is here. A little bit hyperbolic. But I really wanted to cut to this. The United States has militarized the dollar by restricting. This is exactly what I've been saying. Has militarized the dollar by restricting its use by countries the administration wishes to punish, such as Iran and Russia. Our reserve currency is supposed to be available to everyone, not just nations we choose. So true. So true. We're cutting our own throat. And we have people like this that are in charge. Scary. Didi, I warned about buying this company when it first came public. I said, avoid. It collapsed. It's done. I don't know whether it even opened up. Did Didi open up? This is what you get when you do business with the CCP. Look at this. The 7th was... They're done. They're done. So avoid these Chinese stocks, folks. Avoid. Okay, let's do some... why did I do that? Let's do some requests. I need to go to the members area and make sure I got everyone. Franklin, I got you. NTR, Vale. And if you guys emailed me, I'm just playing catch up with emails right now. CrowdStrike for Sumathai. CRWD. Thank God I didn't trade that the other day on earnings. B. And that's usually been pretty good to us. Google. Okay, let's do it. Amazon. Okay. PYPL. I like PayPal. I don't like the management. I hate the management. But you take a look at PayPal on a weekly chart, looks pretty attractive. I was asked earlier about Tesla. I think Tesla's a short. And for those that are new, I'm using TrendSpider automated trend lines, 35% discount code below. These are your automated trend lines. Click of a button. Bam. So what did we do on Friday? We were in a nice wedge formation, triangle formation, call it a cupcake, it doesn't matter. It was a consolidation. We were looking for a breakout and or a breakdown. We got the breakdown. So to me, Tesla is a short. Weekly chart, new weekly lower lows. We're probably going to be shorting Tesla, either vis-a-vis the sale of naked calls or just outright put options. Wheat, gotcha. When you say do not trade Chinese stocks, does that include? Oh yeah, none of those stocks. None of those stocks. Nope. In short, you have the Chinese Communist Party as your partner. Why? Why bother? There's so many other good stocks out there that why do you need to swim in that pool? It just doesn't make sense. It's too much risk. You're not getting rewarded for it. Way too much risk. All you need to do, pull up a chart of Didi. Could you imagine of buying this stock at the open when it first went public? Back here? When was that? In June? Look at this now. That's the CCP that did this. It wasn't the company. It was a Chinese Communist Party. They declared war on this, not just the company, on the entire sector. So that's your senior partner. I choose not to have a communist as my senior partner. NTR. NTR is extended here. I love the chart. It could go higher here, but you're trading above the third standard deviation Bollinger Band on a weekly chart. I would prefer to do this. I would let it come to me. And I think you're going to get that pullback fairly soon. And it could be a ruthless shakeout. But if we hold this support level here, I don't know where this is. It's rising, so it's going to change. At current, it's at around, call it $87 per share. But I would keep an eye on that support level. Daily chart, good looking chart. Looks like it wants to go higher, but I'm going to default to the weekly chart here. And in fact, I could bring on the daily chart. Where are my Bollinger Bands daily time frame? I want the weeklies up as well. There we go. So in dashed line here are your Bollinger Bands on a weekly time frame, on a daily chart. So be very, very careful. You got rejected back here. You had a correction. I think that's what's going to happen again. So I could be wrong. Maybe it's going to move up higher, but you're going to. This is not going to last. As I like to say, this doesn't end well. So just be careful. I would not initiate a new trade here. I'd be looking to scale out and look to get back in at lower prices. Vail. Let's take a look at a monthly chart first. A little bit of topping action here. I couldn't buy it here. You have resistance immediately above. I would wait for the retrace. Why won't it let me set the alert? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I would wait for a retrace back down to around $18 a share and look to enter there. Then that way you can put a stop loss right below that support level and get out if it goes against you. Keep in mind, there's a lot of talk. uh, The commodities are being driven by headlines, right? So let's be careful about getting lured in by the headlines because sometimes it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to. So take a pause, don't chase. If it pulls back to support, great. Nibble on it, add more on a new breakout, stay small. And if you're wrong, if all of the hoopla around nickel and wheat and everything that's getting pumped up right now goes away, you can see a correction in these names pretty severely. Look what happened to wheat last week, a major correction of wheat last week, big reversal bar. So just be careful. We don't want to get too caught up in the hype. And that's why I sell deep out of the money options. So I wouldn't buy this here. I would wait for a pullback. The daily chart, you had a bearish reversal bar on Friday. Again, take your crayon out, draw your higher lows. Maybe you get a little bit of support down here. I think it's got to get tested. Your Stokes are going in the wrong direction. They're declining. We're losing momentum. Different view. Had a heck of a rally here. I wouldn't short it. I would not buy it. If you break 1850, you're definitely coming down to 18. Stoke RSI diverging. Your indicators are weakening up here a little bit. I'm not saying it's not going to go higher. I think the risk though versus the reward is not high enough to benefit you. So I would pause, take a step back, allow it to come back in a little bit. I would not chase it. That's my take. Could be wrong, but that's my take on it. We worry about the risk first, right? We don't want to worry about the profits first. We want to worry about our risk. Right now, it's too risky. CRWD, CrowdStrike, earnings reported last week. They were hammered. Oh, no, this wasn't it. What was I thinking about? Who reported earnings last week? Oh, they were in the security play. It was CrowdStrike. I guess they recovered. They recovered. Okay, good. That's a good sign. Hmm. 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 So the reason why I didn't trade this earnings report, which I normally would on CrowdStrike, is this: left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Let me bring it up. So we have a We'll go check that out in a second. Head and Shoulders setup on CrowdStrike. Is this a dead cat bounce? I don't know. I don't know yet. So I would avoid it. I would avoid it. Because here's your neckline down here. And if this breaks, it's going a lot lower. As a matter of fact, we flirted with the neckline last week. So just be careful, CrowdStrike. I don't like it. Let's take a look at really quick. I'll come back to CrowdStrike. I just want to see what happened that caused that alert to fire off. Something's up with Thinkorswim tonight. They keep sending me alerts like this. Okay, there's nothing necessarily to take a look at. CRWD. Yeah, so we bounced back. We stalled at resistance at around $200 a share. So I would avoid it. What else do we have? MDB. I don't know this company. Oh, I have reviewed it in the past though. At current on the monthly chart, you are seeing a breakdown below support. We have a few trading days left to go. It could rally back. Stokes are going in the wrong direction. We broke some support levels here. On Thursday, we rallied back in an effort to try to recapture. Excuse me, the week before last. This is a weekly chart. We broke down the week before last below support. Last week, we spent a lot of time trying to recapture. My guess is that it fails, it rolls over. Daily chart. Yeah. This is a dead cat bounce. We recaptured support, daily support on Thursday, gave it all up. Not one support level, but two. On Friday, I would avoid. I wouldn't short it, though. I wouldn't buy it. Google. It's holding the support level here at 2,600. Stokes, this is a weekly chart, putting in higher lows. No breakout yet. I definitely wouldn't short it. Would I buy it? I think you can nibble. Use a stop loss right below the lows of last week. Let's go to a daily chart. Daily chart does not look good. I wait and see how it opens up and closes tomorrow. Because on Friday we flashed a outside reversal bar. And that's not good. We may go lower here. So be careful. I wouldn't nibble now. I would wait till it closes tomorrow, see whether or not it holds up strong. Does it break out again? Does it open lower? Does it close higher? Those are the things we want to look for. I wouldn't touch it right now. I'd just adopt the wait and see approach. I'm not saying it's definitely going to go lower, but Friday's price action was not good. It was very, very bearish. So I would just be careful. What I do like here is that your stochastics are rising. Good stuff. So momentum is building to the upside. And you're holding weekly support, which is good. You don't want to bash the stock simply based upon one trading day. But that's Google. Amazon. Amazon eked out a gain last week. It's obviously in a downtrend. It caught a bid. We traded at Amazon last week. We sold. We opened up a Strangle, so we sold premium because the options were expensive. I'm not overly optimistic on Amazon. I think that what they're doing is that they're simply trying to keep the stock up by announcing a split. So let's see how it opens up. Does this keep the momentum that it had at the back half of the week based upon a split? Split really means nothing. So I wouldn't buy it here. I wouldn't short it. I'd wait and see how it behaves in the next couple of trading days. Going to a daily chart, you take a look at the price action on Friday. No great follow through on the news. In fact, you had a reversal bar. So I would be careful. I would again take a step back, deep breath. Does it hold the support level, or does it give way? So, warning flag on the track with Amazon. PayPal. So PayPal. PayPal. The daily chart doesn't look good. The however is you take a look at only. Okay, are we back? I think we're back now. Finally. Okay, sorry about that, folks. That was weird. Okay, all right. So PayPal. Here, I'll use this chart here for PayPal. So what I'm eyeballing on PayPal is the weekly chart. Forget about the daily chart right now, the weekly chart. And it's kind of similar to what I mentioned earlier about I forget which stock it was I was talking about, but it was oversold on a weekly time frame. So PayPal on a weekly time frame has RSI 17.20. So it's very oversold. So you can bet that this is definitely one that's on our watch list for this week. We're probably going to be trading it. Am I overly bullish on it? No. I think that they have a lot of problems as a company, a lot of competition out there. But I think that you're going to get a rally here fairly soon on PayPal because it's just simply oversold. Look at your Stokes, double bottomed out. So I think that we're setting up for a potential rally here in the next several days. So I'm actually bullish on PayPal. I'm just not ready to pull the trigger yet. Okay. What else do we have? Wheat. Okay. All right. So I want to drive home a point about what I mentioned earlier about wheat and any other commodity. You know, you have booms and busts. I don't think that wheat is done going up longer term. The however is this was unsustainable. All right. So a lot of air came out of this bubble. And normally what you get is a further retracement. Now we could see on wheat. Let's go to Tetrium. I have a saved chart here. Tetrium. So what I would do is this. I would not buy it now. Is wait for a sell-off. And if you don't think it could hit $8 a share again, it can. So and it could do it very, very quickly. So I would not chase it. I think it's probably going to come in a bit further. Let's go to the daily chart. You know, it was a good day on Friday, bullish reversal bar. Maybe we'll rally. Is it a double top and we get a lower high? I don't know. That's what I don't know yet. So if you wanted to buy it here, fine. Put a stop loss right below the lows of the day on Friday. Stop out, stay small on the trade, stop out, small loss. And if we do break down to new lower lows versus Friday's close, you're going to see an 8 handle on wheat. It's going to happen. So I would focus on the weekly chart, draw your trend line of prior lows. That's where you want to enter it because that's where your best risk reward is. And I think that is everyone. It's past 7 o'clock. I want to go enjoy some time with my daughter while she's still home. Folks, thank you for being here. TrendSpider, 35% discount code below. If you're not currently a member, think about it. I open up my old commentary that I sent out to members. There's a playlist on YouTube called Premium Unlocked. Go check out my commentary, see if it's for you. If it is for you, we have a 14-day free trial offer. And everybody have a very, very profitable trading week. I'll talk to you soon. Be well.